I'm Jacob Courtwright, and this is The Locker Room. What's going on, everybody? Hope you're having a great day today. I'm Jacob Courtwright. This is The Locker Room. Before we get started, like always, follow The Locker Room on Twitter, TLR with Jacob, on Instagram, The Locker Room Podcast 615, on Facebook, The Locker Room host Jacob, and on the Tick and Talk, The Locker Room 22. This episode, of course, is brought to you by FNX Fitness. Go to fnxfit.com, that is fnxfit.com, for all your supplements and health needs. That is fnxfit.com. Use your promo code TLRHOST. That is TLRHOST, all capitals, for 15% off your order. My gift to you. This product is made in the beautiful US of A, so let's support a local company. Let's get more fit, more strong, more healthy, more better, just overall better looking. Let's get those beach bodies ready for this coming beach season. Let's get into the episode. Okay, Sunday Show Out or Monday Makeover is back by popular demand. I love how this is a segment that has just taken on a life of its own. It's all because of you guys at home. I mean, you're the ones listening. You're the one who likes it. So I'm going to continue to give it to you because I'm here to please you, not me. Let's get into our very first Sunday Show Out or Monday Makeover. The Green Bay Packers took on the Jacksonville Jaguars. They squeezed by with a 24-20 victory. This is a Monday Makeover for the Green Bay Packers. Here's why I say this. Aaron Rodgers' attitude towards football games is increasingly getting worse. I don't think that him and Matt LaFleur have this cushy, great relationship like everybody keeps saying that they have. Here's a couple reasons why. If you look at the play calling, Aaron Rodgers, this is on record from his own head coach, audibles out of 34% of his plays. Now, for a great, all-around great quarterback, one of the best to ever do it, like in Aaron Rodgers, the Peyton Mannings, or the Drew Breeses, or the Tom Bradys, it is not out of the ordinary for them to change plays. But you know what Tom Brady and Peyton Manning's percentage was to change out of plays? Around 19 to 20%. So Aaron Rodgers is outing them by almost 12 complete percentage points, which means that Aaron Rodgers is almost half the plays that are being called. Aaron Rodgers is just like, nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. I'm just going to run what I want to run. So this is the problem that I have with Aaron Rodgers. This is the problem that I have with the Green Bay Packers, is this is a fight between Matt LaFleur and a fight between him and Aaron Rodgers, and it's not going to let up. They're always going to burn out in the playoffs like we saw last year because the Eagles are always going to clash in the biggest moments. Is Aaron Rodgers talented? Hell yes, he is. Is Aaron Rodgers one of the best to ever do it? Hell yes, he is. But against Jacksonville, against Detroit, against the Vikings, you're getting an Aaron Rodgers who's bringing a half-ass approach to every single football game he has played this year, except for one. This is why we don't completely talk about Aaron Rodgers right next to Tom Brady or Peyton Manning as some of the best to ever do it, even necessarily next to Drew Brees, because his attitude has always been his downfall. This game on Sunday was almost a loss, and it was strictly off of the arm of Aaron Rodgers. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, the numbers look great. 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Do you know how many interceptions were dropped or how many balls were heavily contested? Now, I know he only incompleted 10 passes. One of those was an interception. 3 of those were dropped or batted that should have been potential interceptions. Aaron Rodgers is off his back foot, side-arming it, slinging it around, doesn't care because it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. And why they are not going to go far into the playoffs this year is because of that attitude moving forward. Him and LaFleur are not on the same level of what they want. LaFleur comes out in all these press conferences saying that he needs his quarterback to play better. Aaron Rodgers is coming out basically saying, without saying it, that it's the play calling and he needs to take more control and they just need to execute better. So Aaron Rodgers blames his coach blames him, and then they wonder why they're only beating one of the worst teams in all of football, the Jacksonville Jaguars, by 4 points. That's my problem with this Green Bay team. That's my problem with them going forward. This is why they're a Monday makeover. If this was Patrick Mahomes, if this was Tom Brady, if this was Drew Brees, if this was any other quarterback, hell, Deshaun Watson, whose team is completely awful, you would still see a fighting competitive spirit and a motivational spirit to really push their team forward. I don't see that from Aaron Rodgers. I saw this on Sunday, which was bad Aaron Rodgers football, that the media and everybody wants to pass off as good because of his numbers. And guess what? Numbers don't mean a whole lot moving into the playoffs. How many times have we seen great quarterbacks or people that put up great numbers get destroyed in the playoffs? All the time. So the reason I have a problem with Green Bay, the reason Green Bay has me so frustrated right now is because, A, the draft pissed me off. We all know about that. If you don't know about that, go back and listen to when the draft was. It's several episodes ago. They screwed themselves in the draft. 2, Aaron Rodgers doesn't care. 3, Aaron Rodgers puts his team in bad positions. He might win them some games, but he almost lost them a game simply off of his own decision-making against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And 4, coach and quarterback relationship. This is why Green Bay is not going to win any Super Bowl in the near future. This is why Aaron Rodgers is probably going to either opt out or get traded in the next few years. Because this is not going to work. LaFleur is their future. Aaron Rodgers is no longer their future. Monday makeover for Green Bay. All right, well, next up, we have a Sunday show out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They beat the Carolina Panthers 46-23. And why this is not a Monday makeover for the Panthers, we did have several injuries happen, of course, to the Panthers. Christian McCaffrey in and out of the lineup, you can tell, is starting to finally weigh on them. Davis finally is coming back down to earth after 5 incredible weeks at running the football. Teddy Bridgewater got banged up a little bit, did not have a good Sunday, only 136 yards and 2 touchdowns and an interception. They couldn't get it on the ground. They couldn't get it throughout the air. But the biggest reason is they are playing one of the best teams in football, and they're slowly getting there. Here's the deal. Tom Brady is implementing basically a brand new offense, basically trying to integrate everybody on that offense, from the offensive linemen to the multiple running backs they like to use, to the star wide receivers that are now having to divvy up their catches. This is an incredible job. 7-3 is nothing to shake your head at. I know a lot of people are I've had so many people write in wondering, why is Tampa Bay not undefeated? Why is Tampa Bay not one of the blah, blah, blah? Okay, listen, guys. You've got to understand that you can't just wave a magic wand and expect that just because Tom Brady shows up, that this ends up being an undefeated team of 15-1, a 16-0. This year they've got the extra game, so 17-0, 16-1, whatever. Tom Brady and this offense are starting to click, and it's starting to get dangerous. This is the most weapons that Tom Brady has ever had. This is the deepest Tom Brady's wide receivers have ever gone. This is the deepest running back core Tom Brady's ever had. Even though the offensive line is still shaky at times, this team is starting to click. 341 yards and 3 touchdowns for Tom Brady. I mean, just let that sink in. Not only because of the age aspect, but just the efficiency. Just the efficiency of that is mind-blowing to me. Ronald Jones, 192 yards and a touchdown. Chris Godwin's finally starting to get involved in this offense. He had 6 receptions, for 92 yards. This offense now with Rob Gronkowski is now an integral part on the offensive side of the football. He's not just a blocker. Mike Evans is starting to get more touches. Chris Godwin's starting to get comfortable. You're starting to see a team that is not only poised to go to the Super Bowl, but a team that is poised to win a Super Bowl on this uptrack. Their defense is flying all the way around the field. They're creating turnovers. Tom Brady's starting to be more efficient. And as Tom Brady said last week, listen, he had a 3-interception week not too long ago against the New Orleans Saints in a 38-3 loss. This offense is going to go through some growing pains, and we're finally seeing it start to grow in a right way, start to grow in a positive way. And that is why this is a Sunday show out for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Not only a hell of a performance, but you are starting to see a Super Bowl contender take form with a lot of games left. Next up, I had to talk about this game because it is two of the worst teams in all of football. The New York Football Giants took on the Philadelphia Eagles, the leader of the division, a team in the New York Giants that is on its way to maybe win this division. And the scariest part of this entire story, this entire division, is 5 wins will probably win the division. Holy crap. 5 wins. 5 might win this division. This is the worst. I talked about it last week. I will talk about it every week from here to come. The WTF football team, the Philadelphia Eagles, the New York Football Giants, and the Dallas Crap Boys. This is the saddest group of football teams I think I have seen since Pee Wee football. Like, for those of you who have nephews or kids out there, I know a few of you have your boys in Pee Wee football. It is as bad as that, except these are professional grown-ass men trying to play football. But this is going to be a Monday makeover for the Philadelphia Eagles. Here's the deal. 17 points. You let the Giants put up 27. The Philadelphia Eagles defense is non-existent. They have no defensive backs. They have no D linemen besides Cox. And when you're expecting Cox to not only get every single pressure to the quarterback, but also have at least 12 solo tackles, you're in major trouble. When you're allowing almost 5 yards a carry on the ground, when you're allowing almost 7.5 yards per catch throughout the air, what are you expecting your defense to do? Are you expecting them to stop anybody ever? No, because every team is going to, on 2 plays, is going to get a first down. I mean, that's your averages that you're giving up so far this year. So the Philadelphia Eagles are bad. But more importantly, I want to get down to this. Carson Wentz. Now listen, I have been a Carson Wentz defender. I've been a Carson Wentz fan. I think that he's uber talented, but I can no longer defend 21 of 37 for 206 yards. Because here's the deal. I know we can say that he doesn't have any weapons. Everybody's always hurt. He had Dallas Goedert. He had Zach Ertz. He had Jalen Reagor. Okay? You've got 3 decent enough weapons that you can do something with it. You've got Miles Sanders in the backfield, which why the hell you go away from running Miles Sanders when he had 18 carries for 85 yards? 15 carries for 85 yards. I don't understand why you go away from that. That's besides the point. Miles Sanders was balling the frick out. But you are solely the reason that this offense is the way that it is. Because Doug Peterson has said that Carson Wentz is his guy. Carson is going to be able to throw the football 30 to 40 plus times a game. And that is what we're seeing, and it's not producing success. Carson Wentz has made this offense pander to him to the point where this offense is dictated on how many complete passes Carson Wentz can throw you. And the problem is, with a crappy offensive line, with crappy offensive weapons, you should be running the ball, maintaining time of possession, and giving your defense more time off the field because they're so bad on the field. But look, instead of doing that, Carson Wentz has dictated that this offense throw the ball 40 plus times a game. It has dictated that his running backs only get 16 or 17 carries a game, even though that Miles Sanders, when healthy, is one of the better running backs in football right now. That is statistically proven. He had 15 carries and 85 yards, literally all in the first half, and then you just stopped running him. You had every chance to succeed against the New York Football Giants. It's a bad team. It's a division team. You're up top the division. All you need is a simple win in this game. You can't pull that off because of one person, Carson Wentz. I can't defend Carson anymore. I cannot defend Doug Peterson. He has been atrocious since his Super Bowl. Ever since Doug Peterson wrote a book, he's been bad. All right, that is a proven fact. The Philadelphia Eagles need to make a quarterback change. I'm calling it. Jalen Hurts in the football game. Carson Wentz on the bench. Here's the thing. When young guys like Jalen Hurts get into a football game, at least they're going to play with some passion, some drive, and they're going to play smart. Maybe the play callers will actually start calling mixes with runs, draws, play actions that will actually open up the wide receivers that aren't that good. How do you get crappy players the football? Be creative. Do what Matt Nagy does. Be creative. Matt Nagy has an array of not that great wide receiver options and not that great running back options, but he can be creative enough to get them the football. And that's with Nick frickin' Foles. That's with Mitch Trubisky. You have Carson Wentz, who could be a top talent in this league if you were creative enough to make him distribute the football in an efficient manner, in a smart manner, and eat up time of possession so your defense doesn't have to stay out on the field. The Philadelphia Eagles are a lost cause for me. I do not believe that they're going to win this division. Listen, the Washington football team has dug themselves into a hole, but they're starting to look good. The WTFers are starting to look a lot better. The New York football Giants are right on the cusp of being up top this division. The Dallas Cowboys have the third easiest schedule in all of football left, right? The Philadelphia Eagles are in trouble, and it is mainly because of Carson Wentz. All right, listen, guys, I know that I might seem a little angry today, or I might seem a little aggressive. You know, I'm on new steroids. I hate taking shots, all right? You know, I'm trying to get swole for the summer. No, I'm just joking. But I am taking this new FNX protein, which is incredible. I don't know if you heard, but we got a sponsor, FNX Fitness. And it is incredible. I'm not going to lie. I'm not just blowing smoke up their ass, all right? It is incredible. But I will admit, it does get me a little bit hyper. It does get me really jacked. It gets the testosterone flowing a little too much, and it gets you a little bit aggressive. But here's the sad part. When a 12-year-old named Duncan can be a better GM on Madden than these actual grown-ass men can do in the NFL, it just really upsets me. Because these are easy, simple fixes that a lot of these teams won't do. I begged for the Bears to trade for a quarterback at the trade deadline. There was Jameis Winston out there, Fitzmagic. You've got a lot of players that could have come in and at least helped elevate that quarterback position. I have pledged for Sam Darnold to come to Chicago. But no one wants to make the move because for some reason they would rather sit and count their money than count their wins or count their playoff hopes, all right? And it just drives me up a wall, all right? Let's get on to some happier news, though. Tua Tagovailoa is the man, all right? Now, I'm not going to lie. Tua Tagovailoa's first game, I was like, this is bad. This is real bad. Now, his defense and his special teams played out of their mind, all right? But when I saw Tua Tagovailoa only 98 yards, almost had 2 interceptions, he took some big hits, I was like, Tua's in big trouble. Tua's either A, not healthy enough to be out there, or B, was rushed onto a field way too quick when Fitzmagic had just won 3 straight. But I'm here to tell you, I'm here to pronounce that the Miami Dolphins have a Sunday showout for the first time in a long time on this program. They beat the Los Angeles Chargers 21-29. Now, don't get me wrong. Justin Herbert and the Chargers are a decent team. They are a couple years away from being a valuable team, a team that might push deep in the playoffs. But Miami, this year, not only can make the playoffs, but can make some noise. Now, I'm not saying Miami by any means is going to the Super Bowl or has a chance to. I don't believe that at all. But they do have a chance to get in the wild card. They do have a chance to make some damage here. All right? And I'm just loving it. I love it. I love what I'm seeing right now from the Miami Dolphins. More specifically, what I'm seeing from that defense and what I'm seeing from Tua Tagovailoa. Now, Tua only had 169 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he was also 15 of 25, so he's pretty darn efficient. Ahmed, the running back out of nowhere, I just picked him up on fantasy. 21 carries for 85 yards and a touchdown. Oh, and also Jaheim Grant, their other running back, 4 receptions for 43 yards and a touchdown. Their defense is holding teams on third down to only 28% conversions over the last 3 games. So they're not only getting off the field on defense, not only are they getting time of possession back into the offensive hands, which they are dominating in their last 3 wins, they are dominating time of possession with the other team, which is how you play smart football with young rookie quarterbacks. Give them the ball, let them settle into an offense, don't try and overrush it, and let them be efficient and smart. I cannot praise what Brian Flores is doing with this offense and defense and special teams and all his other coaches out there enough. The Miami Dolphins are genuinely a good football team. Their defense is young. They're what they do in man to cover pressure blows my mind as well. So if you, for those of you I know you don't understand, sorry, I know I speak in football terms just because I played, but in their man defense, right? They don't have a whole lot of corners that can sit on islands. So they disguise man with zone. And then vice versa. They disguise zone with man. So they're covering up their defense to the point where they're so creative that teams have no idea what they're going into. And what they're doing is just outsmarting their opponents on all sides of the football. Special teams. Defense, offense. Brian Flores has his team being cerebral. They might not be the most experienced. They might have a lot of young talent. But they are one of the smartest teams in all of football. And that is why not only is Tua Tagovailoa being successful, not only is their offense being successful, but you're seeing the Miami Dolphins win. You have to understand, you don't have to put up 335 yards and 2 touchdowns in order for you to win a football game. We see the Tennessee Titans. We see the Miami Dolphins, who have done it the last couple weeks. Simply maintain time of possession. They're efficient by not turning the football over, and their defense gets off the field on third downs. Those simple aspects are the difference between a team that's over 500 and a team that's under 500. So I love the Dolphins. This is a big praise because I am going all in on Tua Tagovailoa. And for those of you who know me, you know that I don't like to give out praise like that because I like seeing a body of work. I like seeing more than half a season or a season of football. Unless you're Patrick Mahomes and you just throw numbers that are out of this world. But I love what I'm seeing from Tua Tagovailoa. I'm all in on the Dolphins right now. I love what I'm seeing from Brian Flores and that staff. This is a Sunday show-up. This is not even close. I love what I'm seeing from Miami. Now let's go to the best game in all of NFL Sunday. The Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. The 7-3 now Buffalo Bills and the 6-3 Arizona Cardinals. I don't think a lot of people would have projected that Kyler Murray would have taken such a leap from year 1 to year 2 and had this team in playoff position. I know I didn't believe that was going to happen this quick, but what Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray are doing is just incredible to see. And we did see the best play in all of Sunday, one of the best plays we have seen in a long time. It takes me back to when Aaron Rodgers threw that Hail Mary in Detroit, 4 defenders, and I can't remember who brought it down, but it reminds me of that play. Just something so crazy, you don't think it's going to happen, and it happens. And DeAndre Hopkins, of course, pulls down the game-winning touchdown, his only touchdown of the day, which is remarkable to say the least. 127 yards and a touchdown from D-Hop. Kyler Murray, though, 245 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. But here's the problem. I cannot go Monday makeover for the Buffalo Bills. I cannot really go Sunday show out simply for one team. This is just an overall fun freaking football game. Josh Allen is starting to play back to what he was doing in the first 4 weeks. 285 yards, 2 touchdowns. He did have 2 interceptions, but I will admit the second interception was not really Josh Allen's fault. It was just a bad read. The receiver stopped short instead of pushing all the way through. So I'll give him the 1 interception. But he's back to running form, 7 carries for 35 yards. This is just a fun matchup. These are 2 very good teams. The Bills are going to win their division, and the Cardinals might very well win their division, which is one of the hardest divisions in all of football. Now, they do play the Seahawks this coming Thursday, which is going, of course, to determine how that plays out any further. But they already have the head-to-head matchup win against Russell Wilson and the Seahawks once already. Can they do it again? I don't think they're going to be able to pull out that magic, but that's another discussion for another time. But this is a Sunday show out, technically, in my opinion, for both teams, because both teams are so darn good. I love what I saw from Josh Allen. I love what I saw from Kyler Murray. Kenyon Drake finally came back, 16 carries and 100 yards. Now you're starting to see his efficiency. And if they can get, that's the biggest question for Arizona. Can they get the run game to be efficient enough that Kyler Murray doesn't have to rely on his own legs or his own arm every single play? And we saw that on Sunday. And that was one of the biggest reasons that they were able to crawl back into the game, was Drake was able to make some big runs for some big first downs late in the half that really pushed them into scoring position. But this is all the final play of the game, the Hail Mary, the incredible catch by DeAndre Hopkins, who this year is probably Probably the best wide receiver in the NFL, playing-wise so far this year. It's tough because when Julio Jones has been healthy, he's been pretty good. But I think I'm going to go D-Hop so far this year. What he's been able to do with Kyler Murray, I'm sure the Texans are somewhere crying heavily right now. But this is a Sunday show-out for both. This was a great football game, and I can't say enough about it. And let's move ahead to the last but not least. The Baltimore Ravens fall to the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick gets his revenge on the league after so much trash talk, after so many have not only put Bill Belichick and this team and Cam Newton down, but have said that, without Tom Brady, he is nothing. They pulled out a pretty big win against my team to win the Super Bowl this year, the Baltimore Ravens. Listen, Lamar Jackson started making some throws that were pretty impeccable. The rain, I think, affected the last half of that game. It started to pour pretty badly, especially on the Ravens' last possession. And when all that was said and done, Lamar Jackson and that offense just didn't have enough. They did have a big loss to Boyle at the tight end position. But this is a Sunday show-out for the New England Patriots. This was just one of those games where you needed to come out and make a statement. You needed to breathe a little life into this football team. Even though Cam Newton barely threw the football, only 17 attempts, he did have 13 completions, 118 yards, and a touchdown. D. Harris, 22 carries, 121 yards. This guy's just come out of the woodworks. I love what I'm seeing from this guy. I tried to pick him up on fantasy because this young guy from Alabama was a third-string backup, and he's just running all over the league this year. I love what I'm seeing. The New England Patriots are a unique animal in the sense that they are never bad. But this year they're bad. If this makes sense, I know it's hard to describe. The New England Patriots are never a team where they're never going to be competitive. They never are out of a football game in the sense that they never have a chance to win it. When you have one of the best coaches, in my opinion, the best football coach of all time, in Bill Belichick, it's hard to ever be out of the column of chances, right? And Bill Belichick has put this team into a position of, this team's probably not going to make the playoffs. They're 4-5 right now, so it's going to be close. This team is probably going to come in second behind the Buffalo Bills because this division really isn't that good, or even behind the Miami Dolphins. You just never know. But this team is one of those that continually fights, and they put up a massive win on Sunday night against the Baltimore Ravens. So, like I said, what I like about this team is not necessarily their personnel. It's their makeup. It is what Bill Belichick has instilled in them for the years upon years that he's been there. And that's that even if this team doesn't have the right personnel, even if this team isn't good enough to compete for a Super Bowl, they're good enough to win football games. Always have been, always will be. It's just like Alabama. Every year, Alabama's not going to win the national championship. Every year, Alabama's not going to have an offense that can put up 500, which, seems like the last couple years they can. But every year they're not going to have an offense that is going to be top 3 in the nation. But they're always good enough to win, and they're always good enough to surprise people. And that's exactly what New England is. New England is that team that is always good enough to surprise people, always good enough to steal wins where they shouldn't be stealing wins, and always good enough to be around the conversation of just good enough. I give them a Sunday show out simply for their valiant effort. You could tell Cam Newton was engaged. You could tell D. Harris was just dominating. He was just running all over the field. I don't think this is really indicative of the Baltimore Ravens. It was just bad conditions all the way around. And when you have the better coach, when you have the more experienced quarterback, that tends to end up prevailing, especially in messy situations. But I just love what I saw from the New England Patriots. The amount of energy and fight that they played with really shows that this team can never be counted out of any football game, whether it's the defending football champs or the Baltimore Ravens who have aspirations to be Super Bowl champs. So Sunday show out for the New England Patriots. It's NBA trade day. We have got so many trades to talk about in the NBA. We've got an NBA draft that is happening tomorrow, which I will be posting and talking about live on my Instagram. So make sure you're following us, Locker Room Podcast 615, so you can stay up to date with what's going on, all right? We post there all the time. We've got contests going all the time, all right? So the Locker Room Podcast 615, it's not that hard. You're on Instagram, right? You're looking at the ladies. Ladies, you're looking at the gents. So why not just slide over to the Locker Room Podcast 615, show us some love, share us with a friend, enter into some contests, maybe win some money, win some prizes, win some t-shirts, and learn a little bit about sports, all right? All right? All right, let's talk about this trade to start off. This is one of the biggest trades that has happened so far. CP3 is going to the Phoenix Suns. Okay, so I like this trade. I like this trade for both sides, actually. CP3 is going to a Phoenix Suns team that, while is up on the rise, while they had an incredible bubble, is still in need of veteran leadership and veteran guidance. What CP3 is going to do is make Devin Booker, I'm not going to say transition into a star, because I think Devin Booker already is a star, but learn how to be a star in all aspects. Because Devin Booker needs this type of guidance from a CP3-like player in order to continually grow and take that next step. Yes, we know Devin Booker can score the basketball. We know he can D-up. We know he can rebound. But can Devin Booker be a better facilitator? Can Devin Booker be a better leader? Absolutely. And that's where a guy like Chris Paul in the next few years that he's going to be with the Suns, and then I probably am going to predict that he's going to retire, I think that this is a great move because this lets Devin Booker grow into not only a leader and learn from one of the best leaders in all of basketball, but a better passer, a better teammate, a better locker room presence. And that's why I love this trade for the Phoenix Suns. Well, there's so much young talent over there. This team is on the up and up. My ceiling for them with Chris Paul is maybe the 6th or 5th seed. I mean, this team is not going to, this team is not going to go deep into the playoffs. This team is not going to win a first round. But they're going to, I mean, they could have a chance to get into at least the 5th or 6th seed at their highest ceiling. I also love this trade for the Thunder. Good grief. What the Thunder have acquired is draft picks upon draft picks, future upon future. The Thunder are getting Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Jalen LeQuay, and a 2022 first-round pick. Now, if you look at the Thunder overall, I mean, the Thunder have acquired almost 13 to 14 draft picks in the next 4 years, which they can, of course, trade for future players. They can, trade and combine a couple of these to get up in this year's draft, next year's draft, whatever they want to do, because there's a ton of guys that they can go out there and get. And I just love everything about this. The Thunder are doing a rebuild the right way. The Thunder are doing the rebuild the right way. This is how every NBA organization should do it. You got a bunch of star players, trade them, get a ton of draft picks. Get rid of them. You might suck. Guess what? The Thunder might suck this year. But in 4 years? In 5 years? It's building for the future. This is what people don't understand, especially when it comes to sports. You've got to be future-centric and not now-centric, especially with where you are. Be cognizant in where you are with your team. Is your team a playoff contender? Is your team a championship contender? You're not? Okay, let's get rid of some of our assets and build this team for the future. So that way in 5 years, we're great. Not just okay. Any team could slide by and just be okay by adding a piece here and there. Why not wait, save up, and be great? It's like when you want to go buy a house. You could save up whatever it is, 7 months for a down payment. Why not wait and save up a year and a half, 2 years? Then you can get more on your down payment. You'll get cheaper mortgages, bigger house, better house. It's all about the waiting game with the Thunder, and I love this trade for both sides. The Suns are not in the building stages anymore. I mean, they've got a lot of young talent, but now they are in the stages of, in 2 years, are they going to be able to steal a superstar? I believe that Phoenix is going to try and do that. So they're not in the build now. The Thunder are. So I love this trade for both. The next big trade we've got going on, the Bucks have acquired Drew Holiday from the Pelicans for Eric Bledsoe, George Hill, and 3 for... Holy son of a... Yeah, that's right. I said 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. Why? Here's the deal. Drew Holiday fills a void that they needed. They needed a guard that can create his own shots but can also create for other players. So I don't mind Drew Holiday. I think he's a very good addition to this Bucks team, but I don't understand why you gave up 3 first-round picks for Drew Holiday. And you sent your only depth on the bench, which was Eric Bledsoe and George Hill, are both gone. They paid way too much for Drew Holiday. Way too much. Especially since every Bucks player that comes off of the bench is no longer on contract or has been traded. A lot of these players are opting out. One of the Lopez brothers, I don't know which one, I'd say the ugly one, but they're both ugly guys, even though I love them to death. He opted out of his contract. He's now a free agent. We're going to talk about Dante DiVincenzo is now gone. One of their better players coming off the bench. So I do not like the Drew Holiday move at all. I love it, but I hate it. I think that Drew Holiday will fit very nicely with Milwaukee, but Milwaukee gave up way too much, now has no leverage to help fill other voids on their team anymore. What are you going to do? Sign J.R. Smith to fill your bench? That's my problem, is you're going to have to be picking up scraps. If Giannis was LeBron James, I would say, okay, it don't matter who's coming off your bench because you have LeBron James. Giannis can't shoot a jump shot more than 15 feet out consistently. Therefore, you need more players that can create their own shots. And you got Drew Holiday, but you gave up half of everybody else off your bench. It looks like Matthews is going to head over to the Los Angeles Lakers. Another 3-and-D and create his own shot guy. So now you've got Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis. Okay, that's a pretty good lineup. You do get rid of DiVincenzo and you add Bogdanovich. Okay, great. He is another Chris Middleton. You don't need 2 Chris Middletons. You need 1 Chris Middleton, you need 1 Drew Holiday, and then you need a bench that can support that cast. You need players that can step in and fill those roles. I thought DiVincenzo was a pretty good addition for this Bucks team. I enjoyed watching him play. I thought he fit very nicely. I think he's a big loss here. I think Bogdan, even though I like him, would fit much better in 5 other destinations. I don't like the fact that they gave up this much for 2 players, and now they have no player on their bench with a contract that they can for sure bring back. Now, don't get me wrong, several of these guys are probably going to sign and come back, but you've traded away all your depth, and now you're going to have to be signing just free agents or lower players that aren't going to be that impactful for your chances for a championship. And I don't believe that this starting 5 in Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Bogdan, and Giannis and Lopez can get the job done, because those guys don't have anything like a LeBron James. Somebody who is so transcendent from all sides of the basketball that it's okay to not have depth on your bench. So I'm not a big fan of the Bucks' moves here. I do believe the Bucks are still in contention to take the East, but it's not guaranteed. Here, the Nets are talking about making moves for James Harden, which I'm not going to talk about that until it gets done, because that's another subject for another day. I don't believe that that's a great move either, because you have 2 guys in Kyrie and James Harden that are going to want the basketball, and I don't believe you're going to be trading Kyrie Irving. So, like I said, we'll talk about that another day. And as these things come in, of course, we're going to be talking about it and staying up to date. We're getting ready to add shows, guys. Listen, it's been a very busy week here for the locker room. We've got a ton of new things going on, so do apologize. We are a little bit out of disarray today, but thank you for sticking with us. Really appreciate it. Anyways, back to the Bucks. I don't love this. They gave up way too much. They have no depth on their bench, which, as we have seen in the last couple years, what wins championships? Depth, consistency. The Lakers had consistency off the bench and depth off the bench. Now, it wasn't a consistent player. It was a consistent bench effort for the Los Angeles Lakers. So that's a little bit different. It wasn't like they had a Lou Williams, someone who could come off the bench and automatically give you 25, but they had Alex Caruso. They had Danny Green whenever he came off the bench with the second unit. I mean, they had guys that could come in and put up some points, all right? Dwight Howard was a big part of that second unit as well. You need consistency off of your bench, and with better teams in the East and the West getting stronger, I'm not a fan of this move because you have lost all depth in your basketball lineup. The last trade we're going to talk about, and like I said, there's several trades that are in the talks, several things that might happen. I don't want to talk about mights. I'm going to talk about ones that have been handled so far. This is a verbal commitment already. The Lakers have already talked about it, and so have the Oklahoma City Thunder. Dennis Schroeder to the Los Angeles Lakers for Danny Green and the 20th or the 28th overall pick in the draft this year. This is almost a for sure done deal. It's been verbally agreed upon. It can go into effect the day after the draft, so they said somewhere around Thursday morning. Now, I do like this trade for the Los Angeles Lakers. If the Lakers are losing Rajon Rondo, which if they're making this trade, I'm going to assume that is 100% sure. Rajon Rondo's gone. It looks like to Atlanta. I think Rajon's going to go try and get a big payday before he retires. But what I like about this trade is you're getting more offensive production. You're getting a guy who is a much better 3 catch-and-shoot guy, more specifically the three-pointer. When we talk about LeBron, it's mainly three-point shooters, let's be honest. And but you are losing, basketball IQ and defense, right? Schroeder's not going to be the best defender, but he is somebody that can maintain the point guard position. He can get his own shot, or he can create shots for other players. Averaged 17 and 6 last year. And I like this addition for the Los Angeles Lakers. He's young, he's vibrant, he's probably, besides Alex Caruso, and Kyle Kuzma, of course, which I don't believe Kuzma is going to be a Laker for much longer, one of the younger, better guys on this roster. And I think this is a great addition for the Los Angeles Lakers. I like this way more than the DeMar DeRozan talk that people were saying a couple days ago. Because DeMar DeRozan, even though he's an all-star, he is somebody that can put the ball into the basket. He is someone that is a mid-range guy, not somebody who create a whole lot of shots for his teammates, and a horrible three-point shooter, which is not what you want to, pair with LeBron. Anthony Davis is your mid-range guy. You don't need 2 of those. You need to open up that lane, create space for LeBron to drive, Anthony Davis to do his thing, create open lanes for shooters to spot up at the three-point line so you can drive and dish out. Schroeder fits that to the T, right? So I really like this trade. Overall, those are some of the biggest trades that have gone on so far, the ones that are confirmed almost 100%, and everything is in talks until, of course, the NBA draft on Wednesday, and after Wednesday, you're going to get a lot of these confirmed on Thursday. But the more they come in, the more we are going to talk about them. The NBA draft and the NBA trades are going to be probably one of the biggest subjects for the next few weeks. So make sure you're staying up to date with us on all of our social media so you can stay up to date with the NBA and all the NBA trades and talk that is going around right now. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Like I said, I do apologize. This has been a little bit chaotic. New equipment's coming in, started new work, so I've got a lot of different things going on. But we are going to get back to it. We are going to continually give you the things that you deserve, and that is a good show. So thank you all for sticking with us. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media. Visit our friends at fnxfit.com. That is fnxfit.com for all your fitness and supplement needs. We want to thank them for being our partners. I'm Jacob Courtwright. This is The Locker Room.